Hello, welcome to another episode of the Terrace Life podcast. I'm joined by the original gangsters, the smooth operators, the main men at the Terrace, Paul and Carl. Good evening, gents. Welcome to your own podcast again.
Evening. How are we doing,
Gary?
I'm very good, thanks. I'm just in my bedroom, as you can see, in the improvised podcast studio. Since we last recorded, I've now got myself a ring light, which is why my head doesn't look as shiny as normal.
Yeah, you'll be getting an OnlyFans next, won't you?
Yeah, OnlyFans next. Pretty cheap, 50 pence a week. Game on. Anyway.
Sign me up.
I'll take it.
Anyway, if we were to have every single member of the Terrace Life on there now, the screen would be pretty full because since last time we spoke, you've been reproducing like rabbits, and we've got some new members of the gang. Obviously, we spoke about your mum last time; she was just about to start work, but since then, you've recruited Grady, a man I know quite well, and you've obviously recruited Nathan, Terrace Nathan. So tell me about these individuals then.
So my mum took over kind of customer service relations, and she's, as Paul will explain, because he kind of deals with her more than I do, she's just hit the ground running. She's settled in straight away. Customer service is handled every day with ease, and it's all going really well. And then since she started, we've then been looking at ways to expand our operations behind the scenes, because as we're growing, what people see on social media, and the brand's getting bigger and bigger by the day, and I handle 90% of the internal design work. So I'm starting to get pulled a little bit too thin, and we kind of made the step up to focus all hirings now on content regarding design work. So Grady, we brought in on a monthly basis, so he is going to be doing and has been doing loads of new illustration work for us to kind of open up the avenues within the Terrace that aren't based around kits. So that's my kitten going wild. So he's opening up different avenues within the Terrace with legend players, chants. You might have seen the new Christmas jumpers that have been released. So he's going down a totally different avenue that we're used to, and that's what we need right now. We need to kind of explore different areas where we can be selling products. And Nathan started today. So Nathan's first day was today. He's working a few days a week at the moment. And like everyone that comes in at the Terrace, he's hit the ground running. So we kind of gave him some tasks today to work on, which is all Black Friday graphics. And it's, I think, for the first time ever, we're not designing Black Friday graphics the night before Black Friday. So that's why we brought Nathan in. He's going to be looking after not so much like the product designs that Grady's doing, but he's going to be looking after a lot of our brand identity, web graphics, advertising graphics, and everything that necessarily a lot of people, including we, forget needs doing. So he's hit the ground running today. We've kind of bombarded him with so much stuff today. Like, he's probably sat there, maybe watching this with a cold beer right now, because he definitely needs it after today with the amount of messages we've sent him and the back and forths. But I think he's enjoying it from what I hear. And Grady's just like a machine and just churning out designs all day, every day. So we can't thank him enough for the work he's doing at the moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, I've had a bit of dealings with Grady as well. And he's a great kid, and he does work hard, and he does churn that incredible graphics out pretty sharpish as well. For anybody who's watching live, there are a few people watching live now. A few likely names popping up in the comments already. Rob, or Terrace Rob, says, "Evening all. I'm surprised he's not brain on the wall." Carl, he's Carl's neighbour for those. And Sam Bishop says, "Hi guys" as well. So. Yeah, so if you've got any live comments for the guys, any live questions, get them in. There will be a fan question segment at the very end. We've got a fair bit to get through before that. So the next part of business, and this includes myself in this, is the Terrace 300k challenge for the month of November. So, Carl, as you are El Stato in regards to keeping a tally of how much mileage we're doing, what's the current mileage in a children in need style? I feel like I should have a drum roll somewhere.
I can't remember.
Good, Paul. Good, like it.
I can't do it any longer.
I think we're at 97k. I think
97k. So we're on the 13th, Friday the 13th today, and we've done 97k. And we started on the 4th. So
7 days.
We're well on course. Yeah, we're well on course to smash the 300k.
Yeah, I think we'll go well above that. Like, it's been 7 days and we've done 97k in 7 days. I think special shout out to Terrace Anne, because she's seems to just be walking constantly. Another 10k walk today for her. And yeah, I mean, like, the whole thing behind that, if people that are watching or listening or people that come in and listen, we've committed to do 300k as a team throughout lockdown to raise money for Calm. And if you go to our Twitter, you can find the links to donate to us and so on. But everyone's chipped in, which has been nice. Everyone's put in, like, Paul's been doing his dog walks. Rob did his walk around the estates and stuff the other day, and Craig's been out running, and you've been running with a vest on, a 10-kilogram vest on. So I'm
glad you added a 10-kilogram there, because people think he's just cutting about wearing a white.
So let me give you a bit of background to this. So a friend at work bought one of these tactical vests, and he was like, "You should try our works fitness test wearing that." And I was like, "Yeah, all right then." Bobbed it on. It hurt a bit, and I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty good though, isn't it?" So birthday recently, so I thought, do you know what? I'm going to buy myself one. So I bought myself one. And then from the serious aspect of this challenge, obviously, the weight of mental health on some people is overbearing, and it is almost like carrying a weight around permanently. So I thought, what better way to kind of signify the impact of mental health in people's life than to carry a 10k weight vest in any of the challenges that I put forward towards our challenge, if you like. And I didn't
100%.
When I stuck that in there, I didn't actually think climbing a small mountain in Wales would have been part of my training regime. But you know what? It's been done now. So, like you said, anybody who's watching now or listening back on the podcast, you can find the link to donate on any of our social medias. I keep retweeting it intermittently as well out there. So if you can spare a couple of quid, realise it's tough times for everybody, then please do. And a big thanks to everybody who has already donated in that time.
We've gone past our target, haven't we?
Yeah, quite substantially as well. Which is
nice. We're past our target, which is nice. So it'll be nice if we can kind of like repay that thanks for that with doing more than the 300k, which I'm pretty confident we will.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
Quick question though, what's it like running with the 10k vest on?
So
you won't know.
It doesn't sound like but it's like
it's the same as it is for you, like, or us running. Like, no, it is seriously though.
100%.
It's the same. It's like running with a backpack on.
It
just makes your legs hurt more, doesn't it, guys?
Yeah. So obviously, my background, I'm quite used to moving great distances wearing big kit. However, I've not done that for like 17 years. No. 15 years, anyway, quite a while. So conditioning wise, I was quite out of condition. So in the run up to buying my vest, I did quite a lot of conditioning before. So like bodyweight circuits, hill sprint, stuff like that, just to try and start preparing my legs for adding basically 22 pound of stone and a bit to my normal body weight. So I did that, but having had some knee problems before from football, I'm quite careful in what I do. So I do circuits in it, but I try and avoid any sort of twisting motions or all that. If I go running, I try and keep it quite straight and on pretty solid surface rather than anything that's a bit soft where I might blow my knee out. But no, it's good. It's different. It restricts your breathing a little bit. And you get a bit of peculiar looks while a man's running around around a country park in what looks like a
flak jacket,
what looks like body armor, covered in tattoos and with no hair. I look like I'm about to embark on some sort of I don't know, strange attack or something. But do you know what? I'm loving it. It's great. It's giving me a bit of an impetus. I'm on a 2-week cycle at the minute, so 2 weeks of training in it, and then I'm going 2 weeks of training out of it and see what difference I notice. So yes, that's about
good on you.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's good. Next port of call then, donating to plant trees. I must admit, lads, I'll be really honest. This one passed me by a little bit, so I don't really know too much about this, but enlighten me. Donating to plant trees.
Paul can talk about this one because he's more about sustainability and
Nice, good.
Eco warrior.
eco warrior.
No,
I do care as well.
I think that it's obviously like a big deal for everyone, but obviously I don't think you quite realize sometimes, like on a daily basis, like how much waste you create as a business, and like there's quite a big, if you consider just like the supply chain of, for example, if we, of a mug, for example, from when it's manufactured, wherever it's manufactured in China or wherever, and the environmental impact of something like that going, getting manufactured there, getting shipped halfway around the world to get printed by us, and then repackaged and sent back out to somebody else. Like, there's actually quite a high environmental impact in any form of product purchase or online purchase. Thankfully, we don't really sell non-reusable items. So obviously, it's not like you're using it once and chucking it away, but it's just kind of, I feel personally, and I'm sure Carl probably agrees as well, that like we need to try and be more conscious about the things that we do. I mean, we're aware that like our packaging could be a lot better. There's a lot of plastic involved. There's a lot of non-recyclable materials involved in what we do, and we kind of, for the meantime, while we're trying to work on more sustainable elements of packaging and to sort of improve the environmental output that we as a company have, we basically decided that we were going to make a donation to basically plant more trees, because obviously you might be aware, you might not be aware, but the one of the biggest causes of climate change is deforestation. So obviously people cutting down trees left, right, and center for whatever reason. So if we can do something to try to link up with an initiative to plant more trees and make the air a bit greener, then that's something that we're doing.
Paul, just obviously without mentioning figures, as a cost implication then to go more greener, if you like. And the only reason I bring this comment up is I was walking around the local Asda, other chains of supermarkets are available. And I was looking in the sort of vegan, like there's quite a vegan sort of thing now. And I was looking into it a little bit, and I was just having a discussion with my wife saying, do you know what? I could go quite vegan. I could go vegan. Like I'm not desperate. But I was like looking, thinking, it's quite a bit more expensive than the non-vegan option. Is that similar in the packaging type thing?
It does. It really does. Like
it's so cheap to go and, for example, like it's so cheap to go and purchase like plastic mailing bags. Like you can probably if you're buying in high numbers, you can probably purchase mailing bags for pennies, whereas to actually purchase, for example, recycled, because obviously it has to come from recycled paper in the first place for it to be sustainable. Because obviously, if you're buying something that's, we could use paper envelopes, but most paper envelopes don't come from recycled sources. So as soon as you get securing packaging that is from a recycled source and is also recyclable, that adds on to the cost. But the other issue being that it's very difficult to find, especially for breakables and ceramics and glassware and stuff like that. It's very difficult to actually find packaging that is 100% smash proof. And I mean, we used to use, if you've ever been a customer of ours before January this year, you'll notice that we switched the packaging from, we used to use these boxes that were advertised as smash proof cardboard boxes, and they were anything but smash proof. I mean, I think, off the top of my head, since the start of this year, I could probably count on one hand the number of breakages we've actually incurred, whereas last year I could count them every day on one hand.
On mugs.
Yeah, on mugs. And I mean, and the other issue is as well, when it comes to stuff like that as a business, like we made the choice to switch to the polystyrene mug mailers with the cardboard sleeve because no courier and no postal service will cover you insurance wise for ceramics or glass or anything that's deemed fragile. So even if you're sending a package of Royal Mail and you take out, the highest level of compensation, it's in the terms and conditions that if the item is considered to be ceramic, glass, anything that's considered fragile or breakable, you don't get compensation for it. So we kind of made the choice that, it's costing us not just a lot of money in replaced products, but it's also bad for customers when things turn up broken and then you've got to wait again for it to turn up, and there's still a risk that might end up turning up broken as well. So I think we're aware that like the packaging that we have isn't very sustainable in some elements, but it's something we're always working on. But it's obviously difficult as a small business to just go and instantly get like 100% recycled stuff, because a lot of stuff either doesn't exist yet or it's incredibly cost prohibitive. I mean, it's something, like I say, we're working on, but it's just something that's probably going to take a while for us to improve.
And I mean, where we're working on it is a case that the reason we're doing the trees initiative is to kind of do our bit whilst we try to fix those things. So regarding the mug packaging, you know, the polystyrene mailer actually costs us 3 times what just a normal smash-proof cardboard box costs us. So it actually does the opposite, the non-eco-friendly one, because the original cardboard smash-proof box is just cardboard, it's recyclable. We've now introduced this kind of polystyrene version. It's 3 times the price, so it's actually more expensive for the non-recyclable version. But that's because of the security it gives you when shipping the product. But what we're doing in the meantime is I'm kind of liaising with a couple of factories in China to actually custom make us a box that will protect the mug in packaging. So the way it'll work is there's a lot of folds, a lot of crease lines that will allow the mug to actually sit in a cardboard inner sleeve that then has around a 4 centimeter gap that then creates another outer cardboard sleeve. So the outer cardboard sleeve takes the impact during transit and the inner cardboard sleeve doesn't get touched. So there's all these different things we're trying. And again, the thing is, like, we have to do tests on that. So they'll send us samples of it. We'll put a mug in it and I'll throw it against a wall. That's how we tested the polystyrene things. I think, yeah. I mean, Craig will remember it. We were in the old unit and I put a mug into the polystyrene mailer and I stood probably 2 meters away from a concrete wall and just launched it at the wall, I think 5 times. And the mug come out absolutely fine. Whereas with a smash-proof box, one throw at a wall. I mean, we're hoping that couriers aren't throwing our packages against walls, but you all see the stuff that goes around on Twitter and social media. So we have to do quite vigorous testing and go a little bit ACT on it.
Really, it's of huge cost disadvantage to us to send them in those things. I mean, like I say, for the number of mugs that we ship a year, and the cost of those is literally triple the cost. It's more, you know, it is more sort of, we spend more money on doing that, but it's sort of part and parcel of trying to ensure that the product gets there in the best possible condition, because we all know how, you know, things can get chucked around here and there. With, doesn't matter how many fragile stickers you put on it, it's all just down to the people who handle it along the chain from when it leaves us.
Yeah, and a time of the year that's going to be very prominent is on the horizon with if the fat guy's allowed in his house to drop his presents off, depending on obviously COVID regulations. Christmas is just around the corner. I mean, before we get into obviously the Christmas at the Terrace, when you're putting your tree up, that's my most interesting point at the moment.
Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do, Paul. Is it up now? Please tell me it's up now.
It isn't. However, my missus said it's going up on Wednesday.
Sweet. Wednesday. Carl, what about yourself? Obviously, daughter will have a large amount of a say in this, I would imagine.
See, I mean, I have my daughter every other weekend, regarding weekends and kind of half the week as well. So I will plan it around when she's here. So whatever weekend falls before Christmas that I have her, which I think will probably be week before Christmas. I don't know, maybe. I might do it at the start of December. Like, if I had my way, it'd go. I don't even know if it would go up. If I had my way, it'd go Christmas Eve or something. But
mine too.
It's just, with it, I've got a new kitten as well that I keep mentioning, and she's going to climb it. It's going to fall over 100 times. It's going to be a nightmare this year. But it's all about, as you know, how I roll. It's all about little ones. So I'll probably put that up at the start of December for her sake, and so she can enjoy that. You know, it's been a pretty rough year for everyone, but I think we can all agree for the kids, it's been a very rough year. You know, my daughter had birthday in lockdown with no friends, and we did nothing but sit inside all day. And they were off school for so long, had summer holidays with no holidays, no days out, no, you know, whilst we still had fun, it was all not as normal. So it would be nice to try and make Christmas as normal as possible. But we'll obviously see how we come out on December the 2nd or whenever it is to how normal it's going to be.
Lads, I'll be honest, I'm full Chevy Chase in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I am that guy, literally. Deck top to bottom, like on roof, real life reindeers on grass.
Mine. Yeah, this is going to be mine this year. I made a mistake quite a while ago of I think my missus did, like, the house was literally like decked like hell for Halloween. Like, it literally looked like a haunted house. But you know what? Whilst I'm not into it, I just kind of said to her ages ago, I'm like, do whatever makes you happy. Like, if you want to put flipping a sleigh on the roof with flashing lights, like, crack on. Like, literally crack on.
The thing for me is, I was a little bit like that. I didn't really care for Christmas. It was just an excuse to get drunk, really. But I spent a year away, a full Christmas year away, sat in a shithole watching the tsunami hit Thailand at Christmas, and I suddenly thought, do you know what? I'm gonna love every Christmas I get on this earth for the rest of my days.
100%, yeah, 100%.
And I'm going to carry on doing that. So yeah, I'll be full Chevy Chase. Tinsel around my head for 2 weeks.
With your Terrace Christmas decorations, I hope.
Terrace Christmas decorations is definitely on the order list, along with a Bielsa jumper, which I'm sure my wife is watching this now. One of the few people that are watching. So Shelley, get on there and order me a Bielsa Christmas jumper now, immediately. Anyway, moving on then. With Christmas on the horizon, then have we already started seeing a little bit of a peak in sales? Yes. Are we starting to see it begin?
It started about 2 weeks ago. So it started at the start.
It just literally
November,
started all of a sudden, didn't it?
It literally started overnight. We were doing X amount of orders a day. Yeah, we were doing X amount of orders a day, and we've been doing the same amount of orders a day for the last kind of 2 months. And then suddenly, one day, I think it was literally payday in October 28th kind of area, it just went bang. And all of a sudden, orders have now been over double what we've seen in the last 2 months. And I don't feel like people have fully started shopping yet. But you can kind of tell when Christmas shopping starts with us because the personalisation on the mugs goes up. So we're getting a lot of dad ones, mum ones, and stuff like that. So you know that people are starting to get Christmas gifts early. Obviously, we released the hand-in-hand mug that is parent and child football kits that they can fully personalise with names, hair colours, and all that kind of stuff. That's just gone silly. So that takes up a lot of our time at the moment. And yeah, it's kind of in the office at 7, leaving at 5. But I mean, just trying to keep up at the moment, and we know it's only going to get busier and busier and busier. And we've obviously got Black Friday on the horizon as well. So, but you know, Craig, Rob, the guys down the office are just literally churning it out, and we can't thank them enough at the moment because whilst it's not at its busiest, they're kind of keeping the ship steady, and it's all working seamlessly at the moment. Like, we can't really complain about how it's going. Because on the side of that, we also have the wholesale business. So we've got currently clubs ordering stock for club shops. So one of our clubs has just ordered 750 mugs for the club shop. And then we've obviously got the non-league support bundles that we launched where non-league clubs can buy batches of mugs to sell in their club shop. So that's all coming in on the side as well. So we have to kind of manage that very carefully and not neglect the store orders, because the store orders is what we do dominantly, and we understand how important it is to customers that they get their product as soon as possible. No one likes waiting around for the couriers, and I think I saw the other day that Amazon Prime, not that we ship with Amazon Prime, but they had extended that there was no more next day service. It was 2 days, and so that's just the start of it, really. And you can imagine where Amazon Prime is obviously such a huge entity, companies, whether it's DPD and DHL and Hermes and so on, there's probably the same size, similar size, or if not smaller than the Amazon Prime setup. So we can only expect normal couriers, Royal Mail, to extend their delivery days by 24 hours, 48 hours. So we're working as hard as we can to get it out the door as quick as possible. So then the customers aren't kind of in that limbo period of just waiting for days on end for things to arrive. And as you know, it's nature of the beast. The closer we get to Christmas, the busier it gets, but the quicker we need to get stuff out. So we just need to manage that the best we can at the moment, Rich. a daily headache, let's say.
Yeah, and obviously new licenses coming on board as well with Bury AFC, Wigan, and north of the border, the lovely city of Edinburgh's Hibernian. And one to be announced coming up, which we can't talk about now because it's super duper top secret. So that's top secret. It's not even on my notes here, and I don't even know what it is.
No, I didn't. I didn't tell you who it was in the notes either, did I? So it didn't slip. But we announced we did a license deal to support Bury AFC. I'm sure people listen. I don't need to explain the story. People are all fully aware of where Bury AFC come from, and it's a great story. And I just can't express enough how great the team behind that club are. They're all volunteers. They're all, doing what they can to survive as a new football club and so on. And I have to say, the support behind that club is ridiculous. Like, the sales are just fantastic, and they must be chuffed because they're making a new revenue stream. And then after that, we launched, I can't remember which way they come. Hibernian was after that. And that was quite an exciting one because it was our first Scottish club. So, like you said, we've crossed the border. Hibernians launched, and then we did Wigan as well. And Wigan, again, a fantastic social team, really good at promoting kind of our products and so on. And they're real kind of it's really enjoyable to work with Wigan. Like, they're great guys. And again, the support from the Wigan fan base has just been through the roof. So, and that's been the same for all of our licenses. And there is one coming. Probably
we did Walsall as well, didn't we?
And we did Walsall as well in that time as well. Yeah, so that's four licenses. And it's really refreshing to see with clubs like Walsall and Wigan that, they're not in the Premier League and stuff. They're, instantly looked down upon, not down upon by other fans, but they're considered this smaller club mentality because they're in League Ones or League Twos and so on. But the sales don't reflect that. They outsell some of our Premier League clubs. It just shows how much support there is behind lower league clubs. But most importantly, I think it shows how much fans of that level are crying out for different merchandise, and that's where we fill that gap. But I'm hoping we have got one club to announce that's signed off, and we're just finalising the plan to announce it. I've got a feeling it'll probably be mid to end of next week, and we will say it is a championship club. So we will see next week when I know what day we're announcing it.
We will, and we'll be glued to social media to see who that championship club may be. The next bit on my notes, I need to ask a question on this one. So I've got down here free wrapping paper, and the question I've got to ask on this one is, will you wrap them as well? Because I am notoriously terrible at wrapping presents. To the point of when I got engaged to my good lady wife all them years ago, I put the ring inside Finding Nemo and just gave her the DVD. So it was easier than wrapping it.
I'm a gift bag guy, me.
I'm a gift bag guy as well, but to the point where a lot of the time the gifts are too big for the gift bag, so I just like folding them. I'm just like,
I think I gave my missus a birthday presents in the Amazon box they came in. I didn't even open it. It's like, here's a present, sealed Amazon box.
Yeah, to be fair, I said to my missus, I'm all about the sustainability and I don't want to waste wrapping paper. But anyway, we're off on a segue here. So back to your wrapping paper. So you get some free wrapping paper then. So explain to me how this is going to work then.
It's so we wanted to do an incentive for Christmas. We wanted to, how we roll.
I think we kind of fell short last Christmas because not fell short, but like
we didn't give anything away.
Well, not even that, but like nothing really felt very Christmassy, did it? Because
not at all. And I think
just because of what was going on and stuff, like we were busy and there was two of us, and it.
And I think the conversation started with how every conversation that I bring up starts. Is Paul, I want to give something away for free, but I don't know what. So we had the conversation of what we could do. And it was just to kind of thank customers. And, I think it'll look amazing when there's presents wrapped in Terrace wrapping paper under the tree. And I want to see the photos of everyone's presents wrapped and all that kind of stuff. And so, we brought in, I think, how many did we order? 10,000, 20,000 sheets of wrapping paper. And then every mug that's ordered basically gets a wrapping paper sheet in with it. So anyone that buys a kit mug gets wrapping paper right now. So then, a lot of people that are buying it are just buying a mug for themselves. So ultimately, I hope it doesn't get thrown away. Hopefully they can put it to some kind of use. But as we get closer to Christmas will be when it's really of use and people will be buying it. And the whole point is that they can just literally receive the package, wrap the box with the wrapping paper provided, and they can gift the Terrace on Christmas. So fingers crossed.
I think it's a great idea, because I was that guy who went to that high street perfume shop and they went, "Do you want it wrapping for an extra £2.50? Yes, I do. Get it wrapped.
But yeah, we're not wrapping it. We're not wrapping it for anyone. We haven't.
No, but it's a great idea. I think it'll be class to see all these photos of, you know, terrace just had paper under trees. It's class.
We've just had the first photo. A Sheffield Wednesday fan uploaded a picture of their hand-in-hand mug, and I think they've wrapped the box as well. And it's in front of the Christmas tree, and that was our first photo, and it was kind of like an exciting moment where it was like that's what we kind of saw in our head, and they provided with that straight away. So yeah, it looks.
I think it's worth the money just for the cool factor to see that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's always 100%. Nice to see your stuff in those kind of environments.
Yeah, well, nailed on my missus is getting another kit mug, just so I can wrap it in that. You know.
We'll wrap it for you, just for you.
Yeah, I need it, to be fair. I'm all like sellotape and that. Yeah, I'm terrible. So bad at wrapping. But anyway, we digress. Also on my notes here, you've took another unit on. You guys are expanding.
We are, yeah. That kind of comes with the new staff. It's we've hit the point where we got offered another unit. It's basically a couple of doors. You've been to our premises. It's kind of like a couple of doors away. We've been offered another unit. Do we need it right now? Probably not. We could probably carry on in the space we're in. We are tight, but we make it work. But the opportunity come up to take over a unit that's literally 2 doors away, which makes it a lot easier for expanding the business without having to find one bigger unit. It allows us to segregate some of the business as well and operate different things out of different areas. Chances are it will be used as a goods in department to begin with, and we can push all of our pallet deliveries into there and then sort the pallet deliveries in there, then move them to the current unit. However, there's a couple of ideas that we've got, a couple of new projects, a couple of new deals that are on the horizon, and chances are that unit will become a working unit quite quickly. So we'll probably see it as a mirror of our unit, basically. So we will mirror it and have mug presses, flat presses, and packing stations and so on, and be operating out of 2 separate units, fingers crossed, which will only mean customers get their orders quicker, orders are processed quicker. It will mean that we probably need new staff and more operative staff, and we'll jump those hurdles in the new year. We'll get Christmas out of the way and done with first.
So what you're saying is that there's a job for my son at any opportunity. I can just
there is always a job for your son.
Get him to work, yeah. So
100%.
I'll do that. Right, the next one, and I've got a dog in the fight here because I saw the post of the white terraced hoodie that you posted on social media the other day, and I was like, I need to get me one of them. I'm very much a hoodie wearer, and I do have a bit of a soft spot for white, so I was like, I'm going to get me one of them. So, new lifestyle collection on the horizon, and can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's something me and Paul have been discussing for quite a long. How long now? Over a year?
I'd say it's longer than that.
Yeah, it's longer than a year now. And it's
remember when I wanted to start a completely separate brand and was just like, yeah, let's start another clothing brand and just do this and do that.
I'm repping it here, look. I'm repping it here.
No, exactly. Yeah. And I think now we've entered the market of kit supply, and with the kit supply to Banbury United and supplying non-league teams as well. And as we've touched upon before, there is an EFL club that wants us to discuss kit supply with them. And so as we've entered that market, we've seen a requirement for teamwear. So whether that's tracksuits and kit bags and training T-shirts and all that stuff. So we started to explore that route. And whilst that's all been going on in the background, there seems to have, from nowhere, become quite a demand for just the Terrace as a brand. So we released the Terrace tracksuit that we've already released, and we released the bobble hats and Terrace T-shirts, and they sell well. Like, people want them, people are buying them, and people then started asking, oh, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? Oh, I want it in this colour. And suddenly this whole demand was there that I think it's took a long time to get there, but I think people now kind of believe in our brand. They respect our ethos. They like what's behind the company, we're not just merchandisers pushing merchandise out there. There's a big ethos behind this brand and how we operate and how we help others and stuff. And I think people have really understood that now and want to represent the brand and wear the brand. So we actually took delivery of all the samples today, unbranded samples, for trying on and checking quality and fits and so on. And then we've got some branding stuff to do over the course of the next month. But I think we are on target to potentially drop the first lifestyle range from the Terrace in January, probably the end of January, I'd say. I'd probably been a little bit too ambitious there because there's video shoots, photo shoots, all this different stuff that we've got to do. And we're going to be flat out until January. So chances of turning it around in time, I'm not sure, but that's my plan at the moment, and we'll see how we get on with it.
Yeah, I'm free for that date you sent me for the photo shoot as well in January.
Bring your vest.
I was a bit confused with the trousers optional, though. I don't know what that meant, but anyway.
Oh, that was the calendar shoot.
I'm sure we can work around that.
Just bring your vest and we'll be done.
Right, sound. Tactical vest and a Terrace tracksuit, sound. So yeah. all good. Right then, moving on to a little bit of fan questions. Still got a few people watching live, so if you've got a burning question that you want to ask the lads, then get your questions in and I'll attempt to read them out. But basically what we do here is Carl tweets out that we're joining on and he gets some questions, some burning questions. And the first one's from at Riot Badger on Twitter, and it says, okay, a couple from me. In the early days of the Terrace, did you have to battle imposter syndrome, and how did you or do you let that not shake your focus? Good question.
So, taking what I think on the meaning of imposter syndrome is, we obviously started this brand and we had no experience in the sports industry, and we've openly admitted many a times, like, we're not winging it, but a lot of it we have to try it and just see how it goes. Like, we haven't got the experience there and stuff. And with imposter syndrome, yes, 100% imposter syndrome always sets in at the start. I think at the start when we launched this, we've never had expectations, so we never knew how far this was going to go. And it is very easy to sit there at the start. And me myself designing products, I found it very easy to fall into a mindset of, am I aiming too high here? How am I going to compete with club shops? How am I competing with established brands? And that whole imposter syndrome of like, you're a bit of a fraud because like you're trying to sell products when you don't really know what you're doing. Like, you're kind of putting on this front that you're a brand. You're putting on this front that, you know, your products are the best, when really you're sat there kind of questioning everything you're doing because you're not fully experienced in doing it. But the way you shake it off and stuff is literally just doing it. And I think the number one thing regarding imposter syndrome is just not having any expectations. You know, Paul and I have seen it a million times. We both worked in the music industry, and with bands is a great example. With bands, you know, they form a band and they have expectations from day one. You know, they're not gigging, they've not got no songs, they've not got albums, but you know, it's the pressure's on from day one. We want to tour with all our favorite bands. We want to be signed to a record label. We want to release 10 albums. We want to play arenas. We want to do that. And when you go, and it's the same for any kind of like startup business and stuff. If you start up and you're saying, right, I want to be stocked on all these websites, I want to be doing this many sales, you're always going to feel like an imposter because you're never going to get there that quickly. So I think it's more of a case of, the biggest bit of advice there would be just don't have any expectations, just go with the flow and never be afraid to ask for advice either. Like, Paul will remember, like when we started this brand, I was messaging what would be deemed as competitors and stuff. I'd just outright message them and just be asking for advice. And this is where we learned the sports industry was very different to the music industry. People want to help in the sports industry. It's very much ethos of, why should just I do well when we can all do well? Like, we all stick together and so on. Whereas in the music industry, it's very much, well, I'm not helping you because I need to be bigger than what you are. So in the sports industry, it's not like that at all. So, yeah, just, I think the easiest way to shake that off is just not having expectations and just paying close attention to other people that do the same things, and just sticking on kind of social media, like everything gets discovered on social media. And we spent how long tweeting and stuff to no replies and no likes and nothing. And then just one day, Leeds United fans picked up on a product, sent it viral, and the Terrace took off. And then other fans started discovering us. Then other clubs, then suddenly a club wanted to license with us. Then because that club licensed with us, another club wanted to license with us. And then because we had 2 licenses, suddenly there were 4 licenses. And we never expected any of that. I can tell you for a fact now, Paul and I never dreamt that we would be sat here owning a business, quitting our jobs, running it full time, sat on a podcast at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Like, none of that was ever expected, planned, or anything. And I think that's the magic of the story, and the easiest way to kind of find your way is just find your own way by not having expectations.
I think one of most people's pitfalls is like when you go into something that you have, it's not necessarily that it's not necessarily a bad thing to have expectations, but it shouldn't really be considered expectations. It should be considered more aims and goals. And it's one of them things. It's like with anything that you do, it can apply to anything in your life. It's like people always want to go from like 1 to 100 the quickest way possible, rather than taking the small steps that make the big difference. And I think you learn a lot, and you'll make a lot of mistakes. Like, lost count of how many.
I think you'll agree. You know, the whole 1 to 100 thing. Numbers 2 to 99 are the most fun parts of it.
Yeah.
Like that, being at 100 straight away is no fun. Like, the journey there is the fun bit. Like, I
think it's different when you're able to look back, and it's almost like a lot of people just you kind of have to enjoy the struggle and enjoy the ride to appreciate the end. It's like someone said to me a few months ago, like, "Oh yeah, like you're a successful businessman," and I was like, "Absolutely not! Like you can't." Talk to me in 20 years. If the Terrace is still a business and I'm still making a living from it, then that's considered success. Like, I live every day with like this business could fall to pieces tomorrow, because that's what keeps you on your feet. Like, the moment that you get complacent or happy with where you're at is where you stop progressing. But you have to do all those little things, and you have to go through all of those small steps to be able to really appreciate where you've come from and where you are, because like Carl said, like, those bits are the fun bits. Like, I look back on it now, even just to last Christmas, and it's like most people would look at it and think you're completely insane the way that you ran a business a year ago. And
I still think that now.
It's still Craig actually posted a video a couple of days ago in our WhatsApp group from our first business premise when he first started in this little basement of a cafe. And it's funny because we make jokes about it to Rob, like, yeah, Rob's literally
you don't know how easy you've got it.
He does not know how easy he's got it when, like, Craig, like, lumping boxes up and down stairs.
A pallet of mugs downstairs.
Yeah, like, do you know what I mean? But I think those are the things that kind of give you a strong footing to kind of go on. It's like you've experienced those things, and we're still learning every day, and we're still improving constantly, and we're still making mistakes, but that's perfectly normal. It's to be expected. It's how you learn from those mistakes, and how you bounce back from any setbacks, and how you diversify in times of need. So I don't know. I think having no expectations is a good thing, but I think that being sensible and having small, manageable goals is always the way that I look at it. It's like it's good. You can apply it to anything. Same as how your day is going to go. It's like, you can't put down a list of 20 things that you're going to get. I need to get these 20 things done tomorrow, because it's not going to happen. It's like, you've just got to take everything as it comes and kind of do your own thing.
Yeah, is just going back to the point about hardships and Craig lumping boxes up. That's why he's able to set such vast running times as well. I'm just going to stick that in there for Craig. But,
yeah,
is there not a saying about diamonds being cut from diamonds or something along the line? I can't remember exactly what the phrase is, but there's definitely some merit in that thought that you don't get diamonds by just digging about. They've got to be cut from something, and you get that from bumps in the road. That's how you learn and evolve. 100%. I mean, Jesus, like I absolutely refuse to listen to the first 10, 15 podcasts I ever did because they're just slightly worse than this. They're absolutely horrendous. Like if I could delete them from modern history, I would, because they're appalling. And that's not to say that I'm there yet, because I'm not there yet. But my God, like I've learned, you learn lessons by your hardships and by getting things wrong. And that's how you grow in it, and that's how you get better. Sticking with Riot Badger, obviously I know, says, and I'm not too sure what USP means, but what's your USP in negotiations with clubs for licensing? Is there a Bielsa-style presentation other football managers are available?
Yeah,
it means unique selling point, Gary.
Thank you for...
so your USP would be your dashing good looks and ability to hold a conversation. That would be your USP.
All right, cool. I'm going to use that from now on in. I'm going to use that. Yeah. Every time I try and get a guest for a podcast, and we're like, I've got dashing good looks and I can hold a conversation. Come on the podcast.
What's our USP when talking to licensed players? So, I mean, no, we don't have. I mean, I'd love to have a Bielsa style presentation, just rolling in there with a PowerPoint and a projector. But
a simple presentation, isn't it? If you think about it.
So, I mean, our USP would be, I mean, we obviously go in with the fact that we can personalise products and a club shop can't, unless you're elite corporate club in the top of the Premier League. Some of those can offer personalised products in store. But, I mean, I think the biggest USP that we kind of set into clubs is our connection with fans. And that will always be our USP, is that we can connect with fans on a whole different level, in a different way to what clubs can. And I think that's what, it goes without saying that maybe 3 or 4 of our licenses, behind the scenes, they've came about because the club is struggling to connect with their fans. Obviously, I won't name who, but certain clubs find it hard to connect with fans. If it's been 3-4 seasons of bad results and constant manager changes and star players leaving and nothing to shout about, how does a club connect with their fans when it's just constantly bad news? It's hard for a club to be saying, come and buy this football shirt for 50 quid when you're starting a season in a league that you've just been relegated to, and your star player has been signed by a club in the league above, and fans are disgruntled with the owners, or any kind of stuff like that. It's hard for a club to then be pushing down fans' throats. Buy these new shirts for 50 quid, buy these dressing gowns for 36 quid, buy these slippers, it's hot, fans get fed up of it and stuff, but we have a very different approach to how we approach fans regarding buying things. We offer different kind of ways to connect with a fan, and it's not by using current seasons, although sometimes it is, but we kind of try to tap into their memories and then the nostalgia of them and the club a little bit more. So we have this unique way of connecting with fans. That's not just in the products we do. I think it's more about us as characters, as individuals, the way we speak to people online, the way we kind of always have time to chat to people that tweet us and so on. So there's all these different things that clubs not necessarily won't do. It's just that they can't do. If you imagine a championship club replying to every single tweet that they got, it's just not possible. So yeah, that would be our USP point, I would say.
Cool. Moving on then to the next question. It comes from Sam Bishop, who's a regular tuner-innerer, which is not a real word, but I've just made it
developer.
He actually works for us.
So picture the scene then, and it tags Sam in this. You've got Paul, yourself, Carl, you've got me, you've got your mum, you've got Sam, you've got Terrace Nathan, you've got Rob and Craig. Who's going to win in a Terrace Royal Rumble and why?
Paul?
Probably Carl's mum, because I don't know about you, but I don't feel like sucker punching her in the dome.
I don't think anyone would hit my mum, no.
Yeah, I think
that's the easy answer.
Failing that, though, Craig is probably the fittest.
I could see getting to end up fight and somebody pushing it rope down and saying, "I'll just hop out now, Mrs. Sewell."
Yeah,
and then jumping out, and then she wins.
Yeah, I'm done now.
Yeah. So with that one, Sam, we'll go with Carl's mum, because we're all gentlemen in this place. Moving on then, Gavin Jones. How do this year's expectations for Black Friday and Christmas compare to this time last year?
no expectations. It's we ride the wave as it comes in. It's
roll with the punches.
Yeah, we went into last Christmas with no expectations of. We go in with the expectation of this is going to be busy. That's it. We expect this. I mean, every Christmas is different. Last Christmas, we launched with Black Friday and Christmas was the launch of the no context hern range, which was our best selling products at Christmas last year. This year, whilst we will still sell quite a lot of them, we do have new no context hern products being worked on at the moment, but we haven't got that initial launch of it. So this year, we drop all of that launch of that. But at the same time, we've got another license club come in. We've got new license clubs from all of this year that haven't had Christmas products before. We've got Grady doing absolute insane Christmas jumpers that we've not sold before. So all of that stuff kind of replaces that. So it's
we're also double, if not maybe triple the size we were last Christmas.
Exactly. So it's
you can't really estimate it. You
can't estimate it. It's just going to be busy.
It's funny because I was having like calls like me and Craig had a call a few months ago with like our mug supplier, and they're like, yeah, what do we need for Christmas? And we're like, don't really know, but can we can we ring fence like X amount, and like if we don't use it, is that fine? And courier's asking like, yeah, how many packages are you planning to ship between the week of December the 10th and the 17th? I'm like, how long's a piece of string? Like, I've got
the worst thing about
no
that
idea.
is that we don't know what tomorrow brings, in the sense of something could happen in the football world tomorrow that I suddenly have an idea where to make a mug out of, and we sell 1,000 overnight. Look at the NHS kit mug.
Yeah,
it happened with a click of a finger, and the idea come. We had it online, and I was actually looking at the stats and stuff last night, and I think that I was actually looking at our year-to-date stats last night, and the day we launched the NHS kit mug was the biggest day for sales of the year so far, and also the most amount of people to the website this year so far. And that all came on a whim, a real quick kind of decision and idea. So we don't know what tomorrow brings. And so courier companies...
Everyone's fancying doing their Christmas shopping on Sunday. It's
the couriers are saying, how many packages are we picking up next week? And we're just like, don't know, like a lot.
Just bring a van.
Bring a van.
Yeah, right? Just bring a van.
Moving on to the next question. Next from the Sky Blue Hub. I think a Coventry fan. I'm trying to look at that. What's your dream club to work with? Tough question.
It is a really tough question because I don't think I could choose a club that I'd want to work with, because it would be all of them. That's our aim, is to kind of knock on the door of everyone and license with everyone. But I'd love to expand licensing. Obviously, all of our licenses are dominantly UK based and stuff at the moment. I'd love to expand that out of the UK.
Basically, my dream is to have the Terrace store.de and have like Bundesliga 1 and 2 like mopped up, and
that's kind of where we say there's no expectations. There are goals, and one of our goals is that in the coming years we will expand to other territories. So we might have the Terrace kind of set up in Germany, where we start licensing with German clubs and stuff, but it's not feasible to be shipping. If we had it to the size we are in that territory, we couldn't be shipping the level we are now from England to Germany, because it's not cost effective, and the customer wouldn't pay those shipping rates and so on. So we would then have to invest in setting up a whole nother Terrace setup in Germany to operate from there and so on. So that's the big boy.
So it's a long-term goal.
It's a long-term goal and stuff. But we're focusing on the UK at the moment. It's a bit off a tangent, but we're in meetings with some stuff at the moment that potentially will triple the size of our business overnight in the UK territory. So it won't really change anything it won't really affect our customers. They won't really notice it, but there's some stuff going on behind the scenes for us that's going to expand us. And with those things that keep happening, and as you become bigger and bigger in the UK, that's when you can start looking outside of the UK. So back to the original question, I think if I had to choose dream licenses and stuff, it would be your European clubs and stuff, and I won't no one specifically, but just that territory of whether it's German football, Italy, Spain, and so on, because currently it's unreachable unless we can kind of extend setups into other territories, and that's the dream licenses, because it would mean we're in a position to be able to expand the business outside of the territory.
I would just say Ajax.
Yeah, Ajax, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I've always had a vision of like, because I'm like super into my like mid-90s European football, because like most people my age probably used to watch Gazzetta Italia on Channel 4.
Oh yeah,
all that. And there used to be a Dutch football program on, I want to say it was on like Channel 5 maybe. And I always used to watch Ajax, and I remember that like Ajax team of like the mid-90s, and I've just always had a thing for like mugs with Jari Litmanen and like those players in that team, like flipping Seedorf and, you know, David, all those players who just came through there at that time. And I think, I don't know why, but they've just got, I just love those kits. The kits are, I saw a classic football shirts posted one the other week, and I was just, I think stuff like that, it's like you get memories from seeing like, you know, certain clubs' football kits from like certain eras, but like, I don't know why, but I just really like Ajax or like Parma kits from like the mid-90s.
I'll tell you what,
that yellow and blue Parma
that
kit.
yellow and blue Parma shirt with like, was it Hernan Crespo?
Yes,
like
that was the one.
Talk to
it
me
would
about
tell you
that.
what would be cool as well, and I think it's more of a cool thing for Paul and I, but it would be nice to do some stuff with St. Pauli as well.
Yeah,
with the vibes they've got going on, with a very heavily music influence and like a lot of values and stuff that come with Paul and I's background and stuff as well. And but I'll tell you what, on that subject, actually, a dream license and so on, because we don't have one yet, would be what's considered a top four from the Premier League. Yeah. Because they're hard to get. They're not the easiest of licenses to get, whilst they are potentially there. It's big money deals. It's kind of like the big corporate clubs, the top four of Premier League, what you would call top four, who may not be in the top four right now. You know, there's such corporate entities with humongous 4-tier mega stores and so on that they don't necessarily sometimes see the value of working with maybe smaller businesses like us and what we do and so on. And I'd love to just be licensed with one of those top four to prove what we can do on the larger scale. And yeah, it would be obviously a dream for us to work with a top four club and so on. I mean, we have had meetings with one, but it's just takes a long time to get it over the line. So should that one come off, that will be probably a dream club as such for the Terrace to announce.
I think the way that I see us with that though is I kind of see that eventually, if licenses keep progressing as they are, they won't really have a choice but to license with us, because they'll be the only ones left.
But at the same time, one of the ethoses about this brand is that it's not all about the Premier League. Like League Two, National League, League One, Championship, it's all just as important. And seeing some of our non-league clubs sell more than Championship clubs, and League Two outsell Premier League clubs and stuff like it, just shows that football fans that follow clubs that are lower down the pyramid are just as important. There's just as many of them, and if not, they're more devoted to their club than perhaps some of the bigger fan bases are. Because when you're a fan of, big Premier League clubs, fan bases would argue that and go, we're devoted to our club. But what I mean by that is that their top four club fan bases are spoiled. You can go into the mega store and buy anything. You can go onto eBay, Amazon, and buy hooky designs off of other blokes, because there's such a call for it and there's such a massive name that you're just spoiled. If you want a phone case, if you want a different mug, if you want a personalised product, there's millions of options out there. But when you get to clubs of like who we've licensed with, like Walsall and Wigan and Exeter and Oxford and Plymouth and Bristol Rovers, and these ones that are climbing pyramids from lower down, they don't necessarily have the means to be able to provide as much variety and stuff. So it gives us that opportunity that we've been able to really expand the selection for those kind of clubs. So whilst it would be a dream to get a top four Premier League license, like I'm very happy with the licenses we've got already as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have to keep his eyes peeled for Terrace.d for Germany or the Espanol version. Lads, if you want me to go out and do any like quality control in these far out regions, let me know. I'm your man, man of the people. I'll go out and just make sure things are happening. I just need a business credit card and a 5-star hotel, but I'm not expensive. Moving on, Kid Obo. And it's a good question, this, because this is something I struggle with personally. How do you find juggling a work-home balance when so much of the business is reactive and always on in the social media world? Good question. Very good question.
I think it's different for each individual person based on what they've got going on in life. But I mean, for me, you don't juggle it. It's, people will tell you all day, every day, you've got to have a home life. You can't always think about work and so on. But when you run a business, you don't have the option to juggle it, manage it, and split exact time. Like, Paul's been off this week to doing his thing. He's been on holiday.
Supposed to be on holiday today, Gary.
Oh, no, where?
Just here.
No, just off.
All right, cool.
Yeah, just off.
Gary's been Paul's been off all week. I've probably spoken to him more this week than I have any other week. I've been on the phone to him constantly talking about work stuff. He's been running upstairs to send emails for me or send spreadsheets and stuff. Like, you just can't juggle it when you run a business. It's sadly, it's one of those things where when Paul and I run a business, it's if something goes wrong on the store tonight, I can't just go, well, it's the weekend. So
it can stay until Monday.
It can stay until Monday because that's just not possible.
I think it just depends how you. I think it depends how you balance it. Because to be honest with you, like I used to be like, and Carl will tell you the same. It's like music industries that 24/7, constantly 24/7. Like it's not because you deal with different time zones and stuff like that. Like with this, it's not as hard as you think to have a social life. It's more the fact that there's a lot of things that you can say that can wait till tomorrow or that can wait until then. But there's also a lot of things where it's one of them where it's like you can have as normal a social life as you want, but there will be things where you just have to go and deal with it, and you can't say that can wait.
And do you know what I think supports that? It's the people that surround us, like Paul's wife and so on. They understand what we're doing. They understand the requirements of the business. So when it's like you go out for a meal or you go out for the evening or anything like that, and it's like, oh, hang on, I've just got to take this phone call or something. They fully understand and they don't question it. And when you've got that support behind you, that almost gives you that balance. Because the worst part, I think, about balancing it is when you are not in a work environment, you've gone out for the weekend or it's the evening and so on, you're doing something, and then you're like looking at your phone going, this is really important. But if you're surrounded by the wrong people that are going to give you flack for doing work stuff outside of work, you'll never find a balance. When you've got the support of people around you, whether it's family, girlfriends, wives, brothers, sisters, kids, everything, when they understand what the bigger picture is and what you're working towards, and they support you and back you to the hills, that gives you that balance because you live a lot less stressed. Because I think a lot of the stress comes from you worrying about upsetting other people by not having a social life. Because I mean, we do have social lives, we do what we want to do, and we're fortunate that we can operate what Paul and I do mostly remotely. So if we're anywhere, we can log into stuff, we can handle it via apps on our phone and stuff. But it's a great question because it's one of those things mentally that it does. I mean, I burn out a lot. I think this Wednesday I reached burnout stage, and I kind of had an early night and cleared my head. And the walks and stuff have been great. Like they've helped clear my head and like just switch off for a little bit. And it's been one of those things where towards Christmas and Black Friday and stuff, it's really easy for us to burn out where you're working too many days, you're working too many hours, and it gets to the evening and you're still working. Me and Paul are on the phone most nights, like chatting business stuff that we haven't had a chance to do during the day, and it never really truly ends.
I think to be honest, it's kind of one of them where I'm very like down the middle on it because like I think a lot of it's mindset. Like I used to get incredibly stressed about everything. I'd be like, I mean, even now I'm sitting here with like 70 something unread emails thinking Monday's going to be a good day because I know I've got like a couple of huge tasks I've got to get done at the start of the week, and it's like I'm not honestly like even remotely stressed about it because I just kind of reached a point where being stressed about something doesn't make it happen any quicker, and
exactly
people let the thought of all of the things that they've got to do get on top of them to the point where they let it affect them. And it's like, you'll never, ever see me snappy, rushing about, like, because in the end, it's like you genuinely don't make any more progress when you're stressed. All it does is make doing it harder. So it's easy to compartmentalize things and say like, right, I've just got to do these things in small steps. It's like I'm already thinking, right, those things there I can do this weekend. I'll reply to a couple of emails here and there, and I can get this done. And then it's like, right, Monday we've got this. I know that these particular tasks have got to be done. Sort of. I mean, my workload's kind of different because there's a lot of regimented things where like I know on certain days of the month certain things have to be done. So it's quite easy to say, right, yeah, okay, I'm going to do this that day, and then I've got these 3 things I need to do here, here, and here. But I think people just get so caught up in like being stressed about the workload and the things that they've got to do that it ends up making you actually achieve less and makes you do things worse because you rush things. Whereas, it's like it's hard. And I used to, it used to drive me crazy. I'd be like, Christ, I've only slept for like 6 hours and I've got to do this and I've got to do this and this.
6. You used to live on 4.
Yeah, but see, to be honest with you, one of the things I've actually struggled with is actually having too much time to sleep now, because since last year when I was working this job and a full-time job, I was so used to being up from a certain time and constantly at it till this time that now I'm kind of like, I don't like sleeping for too long, and it's hard to now get up and motivate myself to do those kind of things. And it's like, I just think sometimes people in certain walks of life take work way too seriously. And I mean, it's not to say that I don't, but I think that there's always things that can wait until tomorrow, as long as you do actually get those things done tomorrow and it doesn't drag on. But I just think it comes down to organization and also how you are internally, because I live a very settled life and there's not really any ups and downs. So I'm kind of mentally, I've been in a good place for years, and it's, I don't feel the need to sort of overwork myself up about certain things and, end up getting myself into a frenzy over nothing. So I don't know, but I think everyone's different. People deal with work in different ways. It's just that, I'm more sort of write a list and just work your way through it. If there's not enough hours in the day, there's not enough hours in the day. You can't change that. And, being stressed doesn't automatically make you work faster or give you more things to do. And if anything, it just makes you work more sloppily and slower. So, but yeah, it's just each to their own. I think people find different ways of handling it. But like Carl said, it's kind of one of them where, all week I've been checking my emails, and then there's the odd thing where it's like, I need to deal with that now. Like, I have to just disappear off somewhere for a little bit and reply to that email.
It's like Paul touched upon. It's different for every person, because whereas Paul's tasks, a bunch of them are regimented by dates, their monthly routines and so on. I find it harder to manage because a lot of my to-do list is on the day. So stuff like emails come in from clubs that they need things. Clubs will be like, I need these products online now. We'll have design updates. We'll have, and obviously a lot of my work at the moment is based around products. So I can't just go, oh, well, if I can't get it done, it'll get done tomorrow, because that means that order is now ridiculously late, or that, my workload bases around a lot around customers' orders. So it's not a case of regimenting it. It's more of a case of it's on the day, this has to be done. And then the printer stops working, and then this stops working. And then when I get home, my to-do list is still only half done. So I have to bring it home with me. And that's where I kind of touch upon, you can't really juggle a home life and a business life. You have to kind of live them in sync with each other. But I mean, like, in fairness, I don't really do much work at home anymore. Like Paul said, because we don't have full-time jobs anymore. When it gets to the evening, we don't really do much work at home anymore. So I think whilst we don't have to juggle it or find balance, I think naturally balance has come, and I think all those years of grafting for 19 hours a day and literally stressing over it, and that has built us to a point now where we can kind of enjoy balance between the two naturally forming. And I mean, again, we always give shout outs, but we have to say, like, thanks to all of the staff we hired for that, because without them doing their jobs, Paul and I would be not trying to balance a social life and a work life, because we would be doing their jobs in the evening. So how hard they work during the day makes a massive difference on whether Paul and I manage to balance those lives. So, yeah.
I think you're always, I think as well, I think you've always, it's very hard not to have an eye on it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because it's on your phone and your phone is...
You can't stop looking at it.
I get, the order emails come in and I'm still looking through them going, oh, that's a cool thing. Someone's bought that and someone's bought this.
My biggest way of balancing it all is my phone lives on silent. 24 hours a day, it's permanently on silent because I can't handle it beeping and going off every 2 seconds with Twitter and the store and everything.
Mine's on volume 9 to 5, and outside of that, it's off volume.
Yeah, so mine's on silent.
Craig rings me.
Mine's on silent 24 hours a day, but that solved it for a little bit. But now I don't stop looking at my phone in case someone's rang, in case someone's messaged, in case there's an email I need to see. So I could put it back onto loud, and I know there's ways to set certain apps to not have notifications and stuff, but then...
Do you still have Shopify notifications on?
Yeah.
I can't, do you know why I can't turn them off? I can't stop looking because, like, it's funny because, like, most orders that come through, you get, basically, your phone makes a ka-ching sound, and you get a notification that says, like, you have an order for one item totaling £13.80. And I never ever look at the £13.80 ones, but there's always ones with, like, when it's an odd figure that doesn't come up very often, I'm always like, I wonder what someone's bought there. And I'm clicking it and I'm like, oh, bloody hell, we haven't sold one of them in a while. And
Carl's had another discount.
Yeah, do you know when I also look at it now? I've found, this is going to sound so stupid, but I found myself looking at certain things and going, God, that item's popular. Or like, I wonder how many of them we've got in stock still. and then going, geez, we're selling a lot of. This is how it works. Yeah, I think it was. I don't know if it was a week ago on Saturday. I was sat there in the afternoon and I was clicking through and I'm looking and I've got a list of emails. I'm like, pet bandana, pet bandana, pet bandana, pet bandana, pet, and I was like, Jesus Christ, we're selling a lot of them. And I looked in the store and was like, oh yeah, and I literally emailed our supplier in China at like 2:00 on Saturday afternoon, whilst I was mid drilling a hole in the wall of my van, just like, could you send us 500 more of these next week, please? Just like, it's like you can't
get away from it.
I can't not see what is going on. Like I can't.
Let's be perfectly honest. We wouldn't do that if we didn't want to. The reason we do that is because we want to. Because
for a while,
it's
I'd
ours.
actually clicked. Yeah, but for a while in the email account, because we get an email every time there's an order, I would literally just click edit, select all, mark as read. Lately, I've started actually manually clicking on each one and just seeing what is in there, because don't ask me why, but I feel as though it just kind of gives me a bit of a better idea as to what's going on. Because it's easy to look at a spreadsheet at the end of a month and go, oh, we sold 200 of them, or we sold 100 of these. But I don't know, it's like a weird obsession with looking. I mean, years ago, we actually started this again a few weeks ago, but when we first started the store, we obviously got so few orders that we were celebrating whenever we did. So we used to send gifts back and forth of like just stupid, like, like Wolf of Wall Street shit and like stuff like that. And it's like just a couple of
Paul
weeks ago.
Paul sent me one the other day and I was like, it's been 2 years since I've seen that.
Carl's classic gifts, just like, it's a picture of it. It's a gif of a guy with like a rolled up $100 bill and he just sets fire to it and pretends to smoke it. But it was like the first gift that he ever sent me when we got our very first order on the store. And it's like stuff like that where I think you just, because you live and breathe it, it never really isn't there. It's like you're always thinking. It's hard to switch off and, just not be at work. Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It is a really good question. I think it really does come down to the people that surround you. Like, because if they're right behind you, if they're just as passionate about it as you are, and they're interested in it and they support you, it doesn't feel like you're dragging work into social time. Like, just talking about it or whipping an email back or whatever, it's not really working. It's just part of life. So it does come about all the people that we surround ourselves with. 100%.
Do you ever find it hard, though, to have conversations with, like, and it not
anyone
be around work? Even when we talk, though, probably playing Call of Duty is the only time where we don't really, we don't really talk about work.
No, I still did last night.
Yeah, no, but at the very start of, like, I'll join a party and they'll just reel off one thing that's just happened, and then it's straight on with playing the game forever. But that's probably the only, because, like, when was the last time you rang me just to go, yeah, what are you up to? It doesn't happen.
It doesn't. Shit, I'm joking.
Yeah. It doesn't happen though, does it? Because we're just like, yeah, okay.
I don't know. I rang you to see if you. I rang you once to see if you'd build me a little box to go in my downstairs toilet to cover a pipe.
Yeah, it's on my list.
Yeah, it's on my list. That was about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
It's one of monthly schedule ones.
I'll do it after Christmas. I'll do it after Christmas.
Yeah,
brilliant. Moving on to the last question then, and it's from Preston North End Home and Away, and it's still planning on bringing retro shirts for North End.
Yes, it's. If I could go and put 20 out now, I would. It's just not as easy as that. There's hoops to jump through and hurdles to jump over, and everything's got to be right, and we have to respect the club's retail partners, and we have to work with them in the sense of not clashing with certain things. And it's on the horizon. It's being discussed. There's sampling being done, but it's all just got to be right, and it's all got to work. But it is on the horizon, as for many other clubs we are currently sampling.
Cool. So keep an eye out for them appearing over the horizon. Lads, that brings us to an end of another excellent episode of the Terrace Life podcast. It's good to catch up again. It's been a while in these crazy COVID times that seem to be getting crazier and crazier by the day.
Who'd have thought when you asked us how lockdown had been for us back in March, we'd still be in a lockdown in December.
And
our first podcast episode was in lockdown, wasn't it?
Was in lockdown, yeah.
Yeah, it were, yeah.
Because we were supposed to have a studio, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. That's true. Wow, so much has gone since then. Jesus.
Feels like a long time ago. It's been so long. Gary's lost all of his hair.
I know. Like 2020 feels like it's been like 20 years in length, to be fair. But hey, it's
nearly over, Gary. And then
2021's over the horizon.
About 2021.
I don't even think we should jest about that because I think there's a chance it could happen. But anyway, lads, it's been an absolute pleasure again to catch up. Cheers for everybody who did comment and the few people who did stay around and watch live. Realise there's some football on at the same time as well, so some people probably jumped on that. Gents, it's been a pleasure. We'll catch up again before Christmas and get the sort of dealo on the Christmas dealings. But yeah, brings us to an end unless you guys have got out to add.
No, that's all. Thanks very much for your time this evening.
Absolutely.
As we cannot run this ourselves.
True.
Please buy lots of mugs because we need rid of all that mug paper.
And thank you. Just saying thank you to Gary, because without you, we wouldn't do this podcast, because we don't ever thank you. We're always thanking the staff, but not you.
No, so. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need to thank you. I'm more than happy to do this. Yeah, honorary staff. Yeah, I'll take that. Anyway.
He's not on the payroll. He said something about some tax avoidance scheme. I didn't really understand.
It pushes me over a particular bracket. But anyway, that's enough. It's enough of that. Cheers to everybody tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you again. Ta-da.
See you later, mate.